All right, so big data and big trends. Let's start by understanding big data. How many of you have actually worked with a model like that? Scary, right? Yeah. Big data doesn't have to be. As long as you understand what you're looking for and how your data fits into that picture, and you can kind of connect the dots, you'll find you'll be able to actually do what you set out to do and occupy as much of your target market as you want. Value for companies and customers. So we know what the value for companies is, but customers are also starting to look for what value they can get out of the data they are providing to companies. So we'll start with some examples of these, and that also brings us to big trends. But the first one here is customized loyalty programs. Kroger in the States is a grocery chain. Recently, they've launched a loyalty program which they're offering to people on mobile phones. What people can do is download coupons. They can get personalized offers based on their purchase behavior. They can make shopping lists for their weekly shopping needs. They can keep track of fuel rewards and things like that. So what Kroger found was that people who actually plan on mobiles, especially with shopping lists, they tend to spend 81% more than the average shopper in store. They also found that 70% of people who receive personalized coupons redeem at least one of them. So let's look at what's the kind of data you can use to kind of help you come to this sort of decision as a company, where you decide this is a sort of program for you, or you think this is a program that's working. We can obviously look at industry reports, like what's the actual usage of mobile apps in your market. We can look at what the CRM or customer base size is in your market, what loyalty member sizes are. So again, for this specific example, is it a large enough audience to actually have a loyalty program where it makes sense to spend the money to have it available over mobile phones. You can also look at what the actual growth of spend is of those loyal members, if they actually are getting some sort of benefits from your company. Things like that. Moving on to a second example here, we've got location-based mobile marketing. Meatpack is a trendy shoe store. They ran a campaign called Hijack. What they did was they had apps that were already kind of downloaded by their own customers. And they gave those people exclusive coupons when they were in one of their competitors' stores. And the coupon said, you get a 99% discount with Meatpack if you come now. But the catch was that the coupon actually decreased by 1% every second. So what ended up happening was all these people ended up rushing to their store. The result was they got 600 customers that they hijacked from competitors. But they also had a record of one really fast customer who managed to get an 89% discount. Now obviously in a situation like this, you have to also look at what that cost risk benefit is for you as a company. You can also look at data like what is the viral reach of your brand. A campaign like this has a lot of viral potential. So does it make sense for you to spend that money? Also, what's the perception of your customers going to be? If you do something like this, are they going to start perceiving you as a brand that's really cheap and that they should only buy from when it's on sale? Brand engagement value, customer loyalty impact. These are some of the other kind of data elements we can be looking at. My third example today is crowdsourcing. FlightFox is an Australian-based travel booking engine. What they do is basically the model with which they work. You as a customer can go onto their website, fill out your travel details, and say wherever you want to go, give them the price you want to pay and all of those kind of details. They then have a whole bunch of different booking agents who will come back to you with quotes. You as a customer can then select out of those quotes based on what suits you and what you think is the best kind of deal for you. These guys have now already served more than 10,000 customers. Last year, they got funding worth $800,000 from an American-based company based on just how good they thought the model was. Some of the data that can help in a situation like this is obviously market research, opportunities in the market. How many players exist in this market? Is there anyone else who's offering a similar model? The cost of goods sold, the average booking value, the benchmark against other competitors or other people in the industry. That's actually a really important one in this case, given that the reason people would go here is to actually get cost benefits or deal benefits. The actively participating booking agents, what sort of numbers are you looking at there and how active are they? Market price benchmarks, we went over that one. Accepted bookings and repeat value of the customers that are coming to the website. And questions?
You did it under 5.
That was fast. I was really rambling there. Anyone? Someone?
Good. What do you think the biggest potential for the new iPhone is in terms of kind of data and location services?
I think there's a few. There's obviously things like there's this concept of NFC in digital, which is near field communication, which is all these payment options like PayPal and Google Wallet and all. What they're doing is they're able to actually extract out money from customers' mobile phones like a PayPass. And all of them are actually now working with things like the new iPhone. So I think that obviously is a big kind of opportunity for brands. Beyond that, in terms of data, there's also improvements in terms of GPS and location-based kind of services and being able to actually tell where a user is. I think the question is going to be about you as a brand and what your customers, where they sit, like how many of them actually use those sort of iPhones and how many of them use those apps or those kind of solutions. I think you'll be able to figure out from that.
So, what would you recommend? So, what would you recommend for someone who is dipping their toes in the water in terms of data? Where should they start, and what are the kind of the easiest ways to kind of break in? Because some of these things can be really daunting.
Yeah.
So, where should they start, and what can they do the next month or so?
I think the easiest thing you can start with, if you're not doing anything with data, is talk to the people in your company. That is data in itself. Like talk to someone and say, okay, what's the kind of feedback you've had? What has been your kind of interaction with customers? What do you know about our customers? I think it's a step up from there, and this is again a small step up, is something like analytics, which is Google Analytics or platform like that, which tells you information like what sort of visitors are coming to your website and where are they coming from, what are they doing on your website, and whether they're doing things you want them to do, stuff like that. You can also talk to your sales staff. That's probably a really big one there, which is really easy to do if you aren't already having those conversations. Anyone else?
Yeah, how can clients best work with Flint and your team to ensure they're collecting the right data?
Mm-hmm. Keep the PM happy. I think ask the question. If we don't know what your needs with data are, we can't actually satisfy them. So if you don't actually even know what you're looking for, come to ask the question, and we'd be able to take it forward from there. You don't always need to know the right question to ask. You just need to ask the question.
On that point also, like sometimes us as clients don't always understand what's available.
Sure.
You need to be sort of talking to us and saying, well,
sure,
this would suit your site, like using geolocation services and flag it, and we go, well, that's a great idea, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so one of the things we try to do at Flint is we've tried this in the past, and we're trying this even more now, trying to get more involved with our clients. So that's why things like Flint Nights. I think if you come across something that kind of appeals to you, come ahead and ask the question to us. And from something like this, you can always come back to us and be like, okay, this is my business. What do you think the potential is? This is where I stand right now, and we'd be able to take that forward. Again, your PM is another really good point of contact for you to actually go to and say, I don't know what's available to me. I want to do more in this space. What can we do?
On that note too, a lot of the strategies that we put together in terms of kind of figuring out where the next steps are. There's this idea of, right, we need to update our website. We need to make this work. Meet our target goals for this year, things like that. But then it's like, what's the next step? What are our opportunities? That's where we can start digging into some of the data that you have and find those opportunities. And so we can kind of, with our expertise, we can say, all right, you email. What can we do with email? What do we know about your customers? What are you capturing about those customers? And it's kind of like once we've kind of taken a breath and gotten those first quick wins out of the way, figuring out what those next opportunities are.
Yeah. I think often people also with the digital world tend to get caught up in just their website, but digital isn't just people's website. So you need to kind of consciously kind of keep reminding yourself of that and think of what the opportunities are, just like you would with the traditional world. Like if you have 100 customers, you're always looking to kind of grow that number and grow your profit margin. The same applies for digital. So. Henry, go ahead.
Cool.
I got time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess big data, we talk about big data because there's an explosion of data and there's so many sources where we can get data from now. Where do you think, how do you think you should go about starting to look at data? Should you kind of look at it in summary, or should you look at one particular source, or how should you kind of tackle it? Or should you start with an insight and then back it up with data?
I think the most important thing is probably asking the right question. So before you actually jump into data, like I often find that people will jump into data and then they get kind of lost in the space of it, and they're like, oh my god, there's this stat here, there's this stat there. They kind of get caught up in the middle of all of it. So I think before you actually even look at data, ask the right question of what you're trying to find or what you're trying to do. And I think as long as you have the question right, which you don't need data for, you can get to the right answer. There's always ways to get to the answer. Anyone else? All right, thank you.